Yarngun Tatar Gebe, Mendu Shugin, Sigon Pemasirengi. I won't take much of your time because we are eating into the lunch period. There's some of you who really love food must be growling in their stomachs. So, I just want to say, don't want to repeat the deeds and the contributions made by successive Gyaltsab Rinpoches over the last 600 years. I would highly recommend you read Jose Tresering's presentation today, which was in Tibetan, but I would highly recommend that this be translated into English so that others who doesn't speak Tibetan or who doesn't understand Tibetan can have an understanding of the contributions made by successive Gyaltsab Rinpoches, and also the English version of what Khenpo Lektong mentioned just before we spoke at this point of time. I just want to say that the contributions made by successive Gyaltsab Rinpoche, both in the political and religious field, has been enormous, and he has, in his previous incarnations, has played a very important role in the preservation and continuation of the Kagyu tradition of Tibetan Buddhism. I also want to take this opportunity to give you a little bit information about the Tibetan Buddhist world in the exile community. Since we came into exile, of course, we lost our country. That was very bad for us. But on the brighter side, the world gained Tibetan Buddhism, world gained His Holiness the Dalai Lama, world gained Kamapa Rinpoche and Gyaltsab Rinpoche and all other leaders, religious leaders who are today with us. With their beneficence, we benefit from their teachings. The Tibetan Buddhist community, consisting of about 292 registered monasteries and nunneries with the Religion and Culture Department of the Central Tibetan Administration, has about 40,000 monks and nuns as of today. And out of these 40,000 monks and nuns, 69% of the monks and nuns come from the Himalayan region. 29% are Tibetans and 2% are non-Tibetans and non-Himalayan, composing of Mongolians and others. I would also highly recommend, since many of you don't speak Tibetan in Sikkim, to study Tibetan language, not for promoting Tibetan language, but for the understanding, for the deeper understanding of Tibetan Buddhism. Because we are proud to be a repository of one part of ancient Indian wisdom. Between 8th to 13th century, many of our masters, including many Kagyu masters, have transliterated every available Sanskrit and Pali text into Tibetan language. And today, Tibetan language is the only language that has all the teachings of the Buddha and the commentaries by all the Pandits that followed him. And I was also told that Tibetan language is one among the 15 oldest languages in this world. And as per one of the Tibetan to Tibetan dictionary that was produced or composed in the last few years, the volume of Tibetan dictionary, if you can imagine, it's 223 volumes of hard copies. That's only Tibetan to Tibetan language. That itself shows how important the Tibetan language is. So it's not meant to proselytize you, but then it's important, if you want to understand Tibetan Buddhism, you understand Tibetan language. I also want to take this opportunity to say that Sikkim had been very fortunate. Honorable Chief Minister had been successful in inviting His Holiness the Dalai Lama to Sikkim last year. And this year, Taisitu Rinpoche also managed to come to this region, and I think these are positive signs of improving conducive atmosphere where perhaps in the near future His Holiness the 17th Karmapa would also be back in Sikkim. And I want to thank the people of Sikkim, the leadership of Sikkim, the general public of Sikkim, and the Buddhist leaders who have made numerous representations to the government of India. And just yesterday, there was a court hearing in the Himachal Pradesh High Court regarding the Enforcement Directorate case, and it seems there could be possibly a very conducive verdict out of that proceedings, and this will also help in encouraging His Holiness 17th Karma Rinpoche to come back to Sikkim. Thank you very much.
Nijik Kung Sikkim Emergency Jeshu Church